All right, let's talk about something that so many caregivers face. You know how the day can just turn on a dime? One minute, everything's calm, and the next, you're locked in a frustrating, just exhausting argument. So today, we're going to break down exactly why that happens, and I'm going to give you 7 concrete rules that can help turn those tough moments into, well, moments of connection. So do any of these sound familiar? You move my purse. I already took my medicine? Or the big one, that's not my house. Statements like these, they can feel like an attack, can't they? Like a battle line is being drawn. And your first instinct is to reason, to explain the facts, to correct them. But somehow that just makes everything worse. And that's when you find yourself asking that question, maybe late at night when the house is quiet. Why? Why does it feel like everything turns into an argument? Well, the answer is probably not what you think. And honestly, understanding it is the key to changing everything. Okay, so let's get right to the heart of it. These arguments, they're not about being stubborn. They're not about defiance. They are about a brain that has gone completely on the defensive. This right here is a huge shift in thinking. See, we usually look at these conflicts and think, oh, it's a memory problem, something we can fix with facts and logic. But the truth is, it's so much deeper than that. It's actually a protection strategy. It's a brain that's fighting for any sense of predictability in a world that feels more and more confusing. And this really is the bottom line. Arguing is a defense mechanism. It's what the nervous system does when it's totally overwhelmed. When the world feels confusing and unpredictable, the brain it pushes back. It starts rejecting anything that adds more confusion or more pressure. And look, this isn't just a nice idea. There's research to back it up. A 2018 study in the gerontologist found that so many of those behaviors we label as difficult are really tied to an unpredictable environment, not to defiance. And that tells us something so important. Our job isn't to win an argument. It's to make the world feel predictable and safe again. So how in the world do we do that? Well, that brings us to our toolkit. We're going to walk through 7, I'd say, non-negotiables, rules you can start using today to have a much calmer day. All right, the first 3 are the absolute foundation for de-escalation. Rule 1, never argue. Seriously, it just adds fuel to the fire. Rule 2, you have to validate the feeling behind the words, not the words themselves. We'll get into that. And rule 3, use the 2-choice rule. Asking open-ended questions can be really overwhelming. Simple choices, on the other hand, give back a little sense of control. Here's a perfect example of what that validation looks like. So when they say, "This isn't my house," arguing about the mortgage or the address, it's completely useless. Instead, you validate the emotion underneath. You say something like, "It doesn't feel familiar right now." That can be scary. You see the difference? That calms the nervous system down instead of cranking it up. Now, Rule 4 is built on this really powerful idea. Predictability is prevention. Think about it. A surprise can easily lead to a startle, and a startle often leads to resistance. The fix is to just narrate what you're doing before you do it. Super simple things like, "I'm going to open the blinds now," or "I'm setting your cup right here." This little heads up prepares their nervous system and can make a massive difference. Next up is Rule 5, and this one is a total game changer. Stop correcting. The word no, or saying something like, "That's not right," can be like hitting a brick wall. It immediately puts them on the defensive. A way better approach is to use yes and. So if they say, "I have to go to work," you can say, "Yes, and they know you're off today. You've worked so hard." See? It just gently redirects without creating a fight. And finally, we have the last 2 rules, and these are all about long-term success. Rule 6 is to reinforce the calm. When they handle something well, notice it out loud. "You were so patient just now." You know, what gets reinforced gets repeated. And Rule 7, and this one is absolutely non-negotiable, you have to protect your own well-being. Feeling exhausted isn't a failure. It's a signal that you need to step back and reset. No guilt allowed. Okay, so we've got the rules. Now, let's roll up our sleeves and see how they actually work in some of the toughest, most common situations. Oh, this is a tough one. It's so painful. Your loved one accuses you of stealing something, their purse, their wallet. Your immediate gut reaction is to defend yourself, right? To prove you didn't do it. But hang on. Remember Rule 1? Never argue. And Rule 2? Validate the feeling. The feeling here isn't really about theft. It's about fear. Fear of losing things. Fear of not being in control. So your response is all about partnership. You want to make sure your things are safe? Let's look together. Just like that, you've joined their team instead of becoming their opponent. All right, here's another classic challenge. They're insisting on a fact that is just plain wrong. Like, they need to go pick up their kids from school, but their kids are now grown adults. How do you handle that without causing a total meltdown? The key here is to just completely shift your focus. You have to let go of the factual truth and tune in to the emotional truth. What are they feeling in that moment? A sense of duty, responsibility, love? Respond to that emotion. In dementia care, the truth that matters is how they feel, not what the facts are. And let's be really honest here. Sometimes you're the one who's about to lose it. You're human. You feel your own frustration, your own anger just bubbling up. So what do you do then? This is where Rule 7, protecting your own well-being, is so critical. You actually model what it looks like to regulate your emotions. You narrate your exit. You say calmly, "I'm going to step out for a moment so we can both breathe." This isn't storming out. It's a calm, predictable move that stops things from escalating and gives you both a much-needed reset. All of these rules, all these strategies, they're all pointing to one fundamental shift in perspective. It's about completely redefining what a win looks like in your day-to-day life. The goal is no longer to win the argument. There is no trophy for proving you were right about when they took their medicine. And the goal isn't even to be right about the facts. Honestly, letting go of that need to be right is one of the most liberating things you can do as a caregiver. The real goal is connection, because connection is what calms an anxious brain. Connection is what brings back a sense of safety and dignity. When you stop fighting against the person, you can start fighting the problem with them.
So if you take just one thing away today, let it be this simple phrase: I'm on your side. It's the ultimate reset button. It dissolves conflict. It rebuilds trust. It says everything that really matters. You're safe, we're a team, and you are loved. And in the end, that's really what this is all about.